with the influx of African American, Hispanic, and women into the trucking industry. The trucking industry has taken on a whole new look. We're here on the Urban Trucker Podcast to capture each and every story inside of each and every truck. We're seeing people from our very own community, single moms and the like, become very successful in the trucking business. That story of redemption, that story of overcoming the odds, that road to success that each and every individual took to be successful in the trucking business.
If you put the same amount of effort and hustle into everything else you do into the trucking industry, you're gonna make it.
Everybody want to be the boss, but they don't know the boss eat last.
I believe that everybody can make it in trucking, but it's the way you go.
I let my business take me where I want to go.
The trucking game has taken on a whole new look. Hi everyone, my name is Ed Hennings, and you joined us for another episode of the Urban Trucker Podcast. In recent history, we've had an influx of people of color and women to join the trucking industry. And with that has come a whole new look, a whole new culture, and a whole new face. You might see a truck nowadays and you just don't know who's behind that wheel. But we're joined today with my main man, Roosevelt Hamlin of Rose Gold Transportation, here to highlight one of those stories, one of the people that's a part of that new face. And I'm glad to have you today, Mr. Roosevelt.
Thanks for having me here.
All right. Let's just keep it rolling and get right into this trucking thing, man. What do you do in your trucking business?
I work in the intermodal field.
Okay, intermodal. And once again, for somebody that hasn't ever driven a truck, that's looking right now to get into trucking because it's sexy, it's hot, what would you tell these people what intermodal is?
Intermodal is the area where we work mostly up at the rail yards. We go into the rail yards and we pick up containers for different customers. And when we go into these rail yards, you have to be prepared to, sometimes get the different pieces. Everything is in most fields, everything is put together. In this field, everything is not always put together. Wow. Sometimes it is, sometimes it isn't. Okay. You have to get the chassis, and then you have to find the location of the container, get it lifted on. Sometimes your chassis may be, in bad condition. You may have to learn how to fix it yourself, to keep up with, with time, being in a timely manner. They have their mechanics there, but sometimes them lines be extra long. So if you had an intermodal skill, you can fix it like something, simple on your own.
So what you're saying is if you get there and you can do some of the work yourself, like some assembly or put together something, you can put it together and get right on the road.
Yes, sir.
As opposed to somebody else is going to have to sit there and wait for this other mechanic to finally get to him.
Correct.
Okay, so because we know time is money in this business.
Yes.
The quicker we can get out there, the better. How long have you been involved in intermodal work?
I've been involved, gratefully, for a year now. I just celebrated my first year 2 weeks ago. Okay,
well, congratulations, man. It's tough. Sometimes business can get tough, especially with fuel prices.
Yes.
We had the pandemic, so you made it a whole year, man. So congratulations on that.
Yes, thank you.
Okay. Let's think about. I'm sitting here and I'm hearing you talk about the intermodal work because I do final mile. I deliver furniture. So with you, are you local like me, or are you over the road OTR? Are you going state from state, or are you just going right here in the city of Chicago where you from?
Well, in the intermodal that I do, I stay local at times, which is in the Chicago area, Joliet area, things of those areas. But also, I hit other states. Also, I'm able to hit the borderlines of Iowa, Michigan, Indiana.
Okay.
Being local in the intermodal, it's 150 miles or less.
Okay. Well, I'm from Wisconsin. I'm right up the street. So, you doing anything up there? You going up to Wisconsin?
Yes, I'm all up through Wisconsin as well. And also with the intermodal, if you up under 150 miles, you don't have to run a clock.
Okay.
Anything over 150 miles or more, you'll have to run a clock.
Okay, so let's explain that. Running the clock. Explain that. I know what it is. Let me let Mr. Roosevelt explain to y'all what running the clock is. Let him know.
Okay, DOT rules. We we are given 11-hour shifts. We are given 11-hour shift. After 8 hours, you must take a 30-minute break. And with that, you have to get as much as done. You can work up to 14 hours, but you have to get as much as done in that time frame. And like I say, dealing with these rail yards, sometimes you may be sitting there for 4 or 5 hours alone trying to get your load.
That's right.
So working the clock is when you up under 150 miles, you can get more customers in than going the long haul and making, let's say, the big bucks, as we may say. But if you get a couple of small ones in and stay local, you can also make good money as well. And then you also building up a rapport with different customers.
That's right. That's very important.
Right. So that's how you work the clock outside of being over 150 miles, where you have to be on the clock.
No doubt.
And then you may, like me, I'm local. I love to go home.
That's right.
I love to go home. So working over the clock,
That's right.
and getting stuck out there somewhere, having to spend a night in the truck.
That's right.
It's something that I don't want to do, but
That's
hey,
right.
it's also good money doing that as well.
And that's interesting because so many of us look at different industries and different businesses. Like you might say a bartender. Oh man, you ain't doing nothing but pouring drinks. But that's the way it looked to somebody that's not in the game.
Exactly.
Just like with truck, oh man, you just get behind the truck and drive. You think that's all it is. But there's a lot more to it than just getting behind the wheel and driving.
Yes.
Which you just explained about running the clock and doing things of that nature. So that's very important to let the people know that. And right now, we usually, when we on the road, whether it's local or something, we stop and get gas. We stop at a truck stop. And right now, I would like to just share with the people what we call on the Urban Trucker Podcast, our truck stop moment, man. And at this moment, we always hear these wild stories about what goes on at the truck stop, right?
Yes.
So let's just, Roosevelt, can you please, dig deep in there, man, and just give me one of the stories, man, that you done seen, not just at the truck stop. It could be while you on the road, while you was just doing something, while you was in that truck, man. Give us one of those stories about something wild or something crazy that the people might want to hear that you've seen on that road.
What I didn't understand about the rules of the roads and things of that nature of why traffic be so slow at times. So I'm currently traveling, 55 southbound, and another trucker, older trucker as I may say, an older trucker rolled up on the side of me and hit me with the horn. When he hit me with the horn, I thought something was wrong. I got a flat, my line then came loose, something was wrong.
Right.
So I actually raised down the window to talk to him, and the first thing he said, hey, let's ride side by side and hold up traffic. That really just threw me for a loop. Like, really, you're gonna just change, everyone's livelihood of what they got going on because you want to sit here and hold up traffic. I just didn't understand it, you know what I mean? So that was a real strange moment for me. I actually told him about himself and kept going. So, like, man, you got to be nuts, man. You don't know, you don't even know me anyway,
Right.
you know what I mean? I just stepped on it and opened up a lane for, the travelers behind us because, he and my wife and people like, man, you truck drivers, y'all are always taking up the road.
Right.
Now I see how the road is.
Right.
Now I see what's going on. People with
Wow.
mindsets like that just so you got a lot of people who just be bored. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's amazing, man. So all of this time, I'm 50 years old, so my whole life I've been riding behind truckers thinking that it's just, the regular course of action.
Right.
But no, this is all by design.
Yeah, you see ones, they side by side. Yeah, they also. They also.
Well, hey, I can't say that's good news for a lot of our trucking people out there, but hey, we keeping it real today, man.
Yeah.
Start letting these people through, man. Stop that stuff. Right. Okay, man, back on task, man, and on a serious tip, man. While you were sitting there thinking about getting into trucking, because I know for me, I had a barbershop and a beauty salon, and a guy came and sat in my chair, and he told me about trucking. He was sitting in the chair. He was like, man, I got a truck. I'm making this amount of money. And trucking is built for the hustler.
Yes.
If you're not a hustler, man, you're going to have a tough time in trucking. So, it's an easy transition for a lot of us from the hood, so to speak, into trucking from our prior lifestyle. So it took me all of 4 minutes hearing that conversation with him. I was into trucking. How long was you contemplating trucking before you was able to dive in and get your business going?
Well, unfortunately, my journey and thoughts of trucking started when I was incarcerated.
Okay.
So I actually thought about trucking for over 10 straight years.
Okay.
Because I, served.
Is that how long you were in?
Well, I served a 12-year sentence.
Okay.
I was sentenced to 30. You know what I mean? And by the grace of God, and our President Obama, hey,
That's right.
I got released for that unjust sentence I was serving.
Awesome.
But throughout that time, I was able to, always carry myself, with my head high. You know what I mean? Respect others and receive respect. So being in there, I was able to use what the, system was able to give.
Okay.
So I was able to get into classes about CDLs, talk to older guys about, truck driving. I was able to get DVDs and things like that through the education system because I worked in education.
Okay.
So I actually dived deep. I read the CDL book continuously.
That's right.
I read it faithfully like I read my Bible.
No doubt.
And that's what I did. So being into it, I got in it, and once released, I dived right in it.
There you go.
First thing I had to do, I had to get a job. Yeah. When I first came home, and I worked at Target warehouse, and I just didn't like being what I, call,
Right.
that type of environment,
Yeah.
and so I always wanted to be my own boss. So I dived even deeper, and I went and took the initiative and got in school. I was given a grant, so I was going to work and going to school. Grinding.
There you go.
And received my CDLs, which take most 4 to 6 months. I received mine within 90 days.
90 days.
I knew the book. I knew the
Right,
book.
right.
I knew the book worked. I just needed to know how to. You know
Hey,
what I
they
mean?
didn't know you came through the door with a plan.
Right.
You
I
know,
came with a plan.
that's
and,
right.
And I opened myself up to the school. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They asked me, what do I know?
Yeah.
I hear people talking about how they know how to drive a stick shift. They know how to ride a motorcycle, so they know about the gears. And that didn't sit well with the instructors. When they came to me and asked me what I knew, I say, nothing. I want to know what you know.
That's right.
And they
That's
gave it to
That's
me,
right.
and I
That's
received it.
That's right. You played chess, not checkers.
Exactly. You know what I mean? So yes.
Okay, so now you said for the time you was in prison, 12 years, you was reading.
Yes.
You was kind of preparing yourself for where
Yes.
you at now.
Yes, I was.
So you was really doing the homework, getting as much knowledge of this industry as you can. And that's interesting, man, because I had a similar situation, but my dream was to get a barbershop and beauty salon.
Right.
So I took barber and cosmetology. But once again, once I got to that point where I opened my own barbershop and beauty salon, a client sat in my chair and told me about trucking. Because when I grew up with trucking, it didn't look nothing like you or I.
Oh no.
Trucking was Smokey and the Bandit.
Exactly.
It was Big Trouble in Little China. So now you seeing guys come out, man, they swagged out like yourself, getting out of the truck. It's not flannel shirts anymore. It's not, big boots, big muddy boots on. That ain't the look anymore. So that's one thing about the Urban Trucker Podcast, man, is that we come in and we trying to just highlight people like yourself, people that have made a change, people that have allowed trucking to be a part of that change. And we seeing it every day, man. I'm seeing women. I'm seeing, like, I got box trucks, but I'm seeing women in 18-wheelers, and I know nothing about driving an 18-wheeler.
Yes.
So I get excited just watching people like yourself, watching your journey, from where you come from all the way through the trucking business and in it for a year. And I know you got many more to come, man.
Yes.
And once again, I get excited about it, man, and that's why we started this podcast, was because of so many people like yourself, man, meeting women that was on welfare, wasn't doing too good.
Right.
Now they got their CDLs and they running their bag up.
Exactly.
They making 6 figures in this game, man, and they having fun doing it. So, man, yeah. Let me ask you this question: with you getting into trucking, do you get approached a lot by a lot of people about how can they get involved, or how can you help them get involved?
Yes, I most definitely do. It's right now with people seeing, like you say, people like myself. Mm-hmm. I come up in, Inglewood, south side of Chicago. You know, so for people to see me to come home and make this change
No doubt.
and be a successful individual in this situation, they really either trying to join me right now,
That's right.
or you know, they just happy and sending people to me, like people who've been through the same situation.
That's right.
You know, if it's a person who's incarcerated or something, and they on their way home, they say, hey, go talk to Brother Roosevelt. Hey, he know the way.
That's right. That's what's up, man.
You know, so I am open to, you know, sharing everything I know.
Yeah.
You know, when I first got into it, I didn't know anything.
That's right.
I didn't even know how to park a
Right.
truck. You know, I was going to
that's what's
customers 2 hours early
Right.
because I didn't know how to dock.
Right.
So I need to get there before other truckers got there
That's
so I
right.
can be able to do my things.
That's
But
right.
in this field, you know, to be honest, you know, it is hiccups.
Yeah.
But as I do notice that, you know, this trucker world, everyone try to help one another.
That's right. Truckers love truckers.
Truckers love truckers. So don't be ashamed to say what you don't know, or you know what I mean, ask for help, because another trucker is going to help another trucker.
That's
unless
awesome.
they're having a bad day.
That's right, man. For sure, for
Yeah.
sure, man. Well, man, I thank you for coming on the Urban Trucker Podcast with us, man. Blessing us with all those gems, man, and just continue to blaze that trail for the people that come from where we come from, because they need it. You know, we need it. They need it. We need them to do better, and they need us to show them how to do better.
Yes.
So here we go, man. This is your time, man. Where can the people find you at? Where can they follow you on social media?
Yes, they can always find me on social media at Roosevelt Hamlin with my Facebook. IG is also connected to my Facebook as well. I'm also at my email, roosevelthamlin2@gmail.com. You can look up Rose Gold Transportation. I'm always you know, looking for more drivers. You know, we want to extend this, and like you were saying, you know, hey, it's a new way. It's a new way, y'all. It really is a new way. If you didn't have a way, it is one. You know, you can gross up to 3,000-4,000 weekly doing intermodal and staying local and going home.
All good, man. You hear that? He even shared how much money you can make doing intermodal. I didn't even have to ask him the question. He just gave y'all the game right there. Say that one more time. How much a week can you make?
You can make up to 3,000 to 4,000 weekly
Look at that.
in intermodal.
Look at there.
And you don't even have to own your own truck to do that.
That's right.
So the gross can be more plentiful if you own your own truck.
No doubt, man. I appreciate that, man. And that leads us to segue into the final segment of the podcast, which we call what I do, the final mile moment, man. This is the final mile of the day. And you've already blessed us with so much game, so much knowledge and information that I know people gonna find very helpful in their journey, not only in trucking, but in life, man. So with that being said, the final mile moment, man, I always like to say things like this. I like to say things like, when you're talking, when you're listening, you're taking in something new.
Okay.
But when you're talking, you just repeating what you already know.
Exactly. I like that.
So this is your final mile moment, man. Give them something, man. Give them something before we go. What would you tell the young heads coming up, man, and they watching you winning in this trucking business, and they trying not to go down that path, or they coming out of the penitentiary, or they going to the juvenile center or out of it? What would you tell them right now to this day if one of them walked through that door?
I will first let them know to erase two things. Erase the word I can't. Those two words right there, I can't. Like I say, I started off, you know what I mean, in the streets. I didn't get into trucking until I was in my 40s. And right now, in truck, I done bought me a home. I done bought me a truck. I got married. I'm living a life. I'm actually living a life better than what I thought I was living. Back then, I thought I had it all, but now I got it all.
That's right.
You know, so, you know, I just tell y'all, man, eliminate that I can't. Anybody can get in this trucking game and do it. You know, just put your heart to it, put your mind to it, and always stay safe.
There you go, man. I appreciate that, man. Thanks for coming on the Urban Trucker Podcast, man. It's
Yes,
been a
sir.
ball. It's been
Man,
a
it's
pleasure.
been a pleasure being here with
That's
you.
right,
brother.
man. Thank you, brother.
Yes, sir. Thank
All
you.
right, man. Much success.
Yes.
No doubt. So now, this is the Urban Trucker Podcast. Another great episode that you just watched. Make sure you join us and follow us on YouTube. Like, share, and follow, baby. This is the Urban Truck Podcast. Now it's go time. Let's go.